design a form that looks at a set of data and calculates the total and the average. I have a list box, 4 labels, and 3 buttons. So let's start programming. First of all, I need an array to work with. I'm going to call this array numbers. It's going to contain the numbers 1 through 10. Next, I want to put some statements behind the display data button. This button here will push all the data points that you see above 1 through 10 into a list box. I'm going to achieve that by doing a for each loop. I save this and run it. If I request it to display the data, you can see the data points showing up right here. Next, I want to write some statements behind the calculate button. I want this button specifically to compute the sum and the average. So let's see how this is going to work. First of all, I need to initialize an integer. I'm going to call it total and initialize it to 0. The average is going to be a double since we're dividing by the number of numbers, and this has the potential to be a decimal. Next, I need to step through the array and make sure that I add each element of the array to the total. So I'm going to start at an index of 0, while the index is less than the length of the array. So numbers dot length, and I'm going to increment the index to avoid running an infinite loop. All I want to do in this loop is compute the total. So my for each loop is ready now, and it's going to walk through each element of the array and add it to the total. Next, I want to calculate the average. The average requires a cast operator to convert the total to a double so that the average is also a double. And to avoid counting the number of elements in my array, I'm going to use the array name .length. Next, I want to display the total and the average in the label boxes that I created for each. So I've called these total label .text, and I'm going to take the total and push it to a string. Likewise, the average label will receive the average. Last but not least, the exit button. We're now ready to save it. And run our application. We can display the data, calculate the total and the average, and exit.